Hello everyone, Niget here, and welcome to another match of LittleWarGame. Today I am bringing you a game that was played in the recent Pro League Season 7 between Highdra X playing with the blue pieces in the bottom of Little Ohana. We'll talk about the map in just a little bit. And then his opponent is going to be Mr. WeirdRat playing with the red pieces. If you want to know the context of the teams, this would have been Team Holy versus Team WeirdRat. If you're curious about what Pro League is, it's essentially where 4 teams draft players that sign up to be part of the tournament, and then those 4 teams will send players to compete against each other and try to win some games. Interesting thing about this game, it is the first match that they are playing in a best of 3 series, and it is being played on Little Ohana. So I'm going to take a little bit of a peruse around this map. You'll notice that Little Ohana has a lot of cliffs, a lot of edges. The bases are a little bit more spread out. You'll notice that this is a very common third base location, and it is placed right up against that wall there. And then you'll notice that your natural also has 2 ramps, one here and then another one in this location. So it's very interesting. It can lead to some games where players try to sneakily destroy these houses so that they can get some sort of fighting advantage into the natural. And then we also see that there are, I believe, 2 bases here in the center of the map, both on a high ground, and then another one next to the mains, except they're a little bit further from the mains given how far units have to walk around in order to actually get to this castle. So very interesting game. It'll be very interesting to see if this game goes late, because in a late game this map is extremely volatile with how much high ground there is, how much fighting there can be. Talking about these 2 players as well, Highdra is a very strong StarCraft 2 player. In fact, I believe he's a very competitive pro gamer in StarCraft 2, so a lot of experience in terms of RTS, going up against Mr. WeirdRat, who has a lot of experience with both StarCraft and with LittleWarGame. He's probably, at the moment, I would definitely say he's either the 2nd or the 3rd best LittleWarGame player at the moment. But again, Highdra is very good. He has extremely good micro, especially when he gets into these archers. Highdra being very good at controlling archer balls. He's probably actually the best player at controlling his archers in all LittleWarGame. So definitely a lot of strengths between both these players. It'll be very interesting to see how it goes. Let's talk about their openings really quick. WeirdRat decided to go for a 2-den opening on Little Ohana. It's a little bit interesting because you have this defensive choke here. It's kind of difficult to get a lot of damage in, especially if you're going for a 2-den. Although on most maps, the way you defend 2-den openings, where your opponent goes for a lot of wolves, is by having your castle in your choke, and then you'd basically be able to use the workers that are mining to also defend at the same time. We do see that Highdra is a little bit exposed here in the front. The wolves do get in. Raiders are coming back to defend. Highdra is pulling all of his workers so that he is going to be able to defend against these wolves and keep his archers alive. It is a lot of archers, a lot of workers that he's pulling, though. He's not mining at all at the moment. Well, he does have 1 worker mining, but at the moment he is basically just trying to kill these wolves, which he does. Curious if he's going to finish this house or not. Does look like Highdra does decide to finish the house. This might not be too bad, because he will be able to destroy these houses over here and thus be able to get his 3rd base without having to destroy his own infrastructure, which should be fine. WeirdRat sees the fact that he's walled himself in and kind of decides, if you're gonna turtle up this hard, it means that you're not gonna really be able to put any pressure on the map, and thus I will be able to take a 3rd base. Highdra does have the option to blink this raider down onto the low ground and get a little bit of scouting should he decide to. It'll be very interesting to see how they follow up. Let's take a look at their production. So Looks like, oh yes, so we did see this a little bit earlier. I did forget to mention this. We did see that Highdra did go for a workshop opening. So, you know, he built those 2 archers, he had that raider, then went for a workshop, and now it looks like he is getting an advanced workshop. Looks like he is going to be going for some sort of catadrop plays. We do see the PP. Looks like there was a little bit of a pause there. Game continues on. But I personally really like WeirdRat's position. He's going to be able to... I mean, he doesn't really have anything to respond to this right now, but he's going to have like a minute, maybe a minute and a half to like get some sort of tech going so that he could be able to better respond to any sort of pressure that's coming. He does get the advanced workshop, so this is a blind advanced workshop if we take a look at WeirdRat's vision, until he does finally scout the fact that Highdra is going for this drop. So WeirdRat did build a bird when his 3rd finished. He sent it around, got this scouting information, and now he's going to be able to confirm that getting this advanced workshop is the play. The reason why you want to get an advanced workshop when you see this setup of the catapults in the airship is because catadrops are coming. You scout the fact that the catadrops are coming. These are the 2 buildings you need to have catadrops. And then the only thing you really need in order to defeat catadrops is a ballista with an airship to carry it around. And once you basically destroy the ballista or the airship, the catadrop is very vulnerable. It's actually very similar to oh no, Highdra didn't know that you can't carry workers around in the airship. That was very funny. He tried to load up 2 workers in the airship so that he could have 1 worker repairing and then potentially 1 worker blocking some of these paths while he tries to drop. But we did have a recent patch change, and it does make it so that the airship only has a carrying capacity of 8 instead of 10, and catapults take up 4 slots, which they always have. But with the airship changing, it does mean that you cannot also carry a worker around in it. Highdra going for a 3rd base as he's doing this pressure, tries to get this tower so that he can secure this middle ground between his natural and his 3rd. Interesting that most people do get their 3rds on this low ground over here. I might say something about Hydra's preparation for this game. Actually, the fact that he's going for this 3rd base instead of this, he might not have realized that 3rd base was around. This is much more defendable for a Rax player, especially if you take these houses out, because you can have your army in 1 spot and then boom, all 3 of your bases are very well defended against a frontal army assault. If there's some drops, then you have to do a little bit, something just a little bit different. Alright, so airship not doing too bad. Oh, I did want to talk about the airship interaction. This airship with the catadrops, if you have any experience with like StarCraft 1, Brood War, you'll know that in that game there is shuttles and reavers that Protoss will kind of rush to get a reaver drop going. This is very similar to a reaver drop, except it's like that Terran or like Zerg can shuttle around like an extremely powerful anti-air unit in that ballista there. Alright, we do see that WeirdRat is going for a little bit more harassment. Some wolves do go down. We do see that the archers are supporting these catapults here. It's a little bit much. I actually would rather not see WeirdRat lose like a lot of wolves here. So I think all he wanted to do was kind of check to see like, does he have the space? Can I try to do a run by, get some damage in? But he definitely overstayed, and as a result, he took a lot of damage on his wolves. Highdra dropping, trying to get as much damage in with these catapults as he possibly can, and then WeirdRat responding correctly with getting this ballista drop in position so that he can try to negate some of this airship micro. Wolves are going to be really difficult to defend with, but actually I don't like the size of Hydra's army. This is too small, actually. He definitely needs more soldiers, just having, like, he doesn't have anything that can tank for these wolves here. Does try to pick up all of his units so that he can put them on this wall, be able to defend themselves, and he is going for this massive Rax wall over here. He's just basically trying to build a wall, you know, to be able to defend his whole area. He has the towers. Ballista does soak up a lot of damage, actually. This was kind of a high-level move by WeirdRat to have his Ballista here. Ballista have insane amount of armor. They have 4 armor, which means that each of these archers were only doing 9 damage, and he had this Ballista soak up so much damage from all these units. It did allow a lot of his wolves to kind of get a little bit more pressure, and I do imagine that he's going to send a worker to repair this up so that he is able to continuously defend against these drop plays. Workers basically trying to plug up the holes where he might be vulnerable. We do see this wolf for WeirdRat is able to continuously scout the fact that he doesn't have this 4th base location, although he does have it very well walled off. In fact, more walled off than I have ever seen. Highdra, he's like, I do not want to be flanked. I only want to worry about one access point, which is this over here. If he puts some catapults behind this, maybe a ballista, then he will have that area locked down. WeirdRat does decide to go for a drop play. So the interesting thing about this map, Little Ohana, is that it is very difficult to try to go for a frontal assault, especially when you have this sort of setup going on. But because there are so many walls and there's so much high ground between the main, the natural, and the third, if you ever get a drop going, it's very difficult to respond to. We do see that Highdra does come in, he has the soldiers, but WeirdRat is mostly interested in stopping Highdra from getting his upgrades. He's more than happy to sacrifice like 8 wolves, it looks like here, so that he could potentially cancel this upgrade. Looks like it's not going to be able to happen because these workers were repairing it, and looks like WeirdRat is going to lose that drop. At the same time, Highdra without units in position is going to take a lot of damage at his 4th. He's actually taking a lot of time before he's actually seen it. Like, a lot of his time just a second ago was spent in his base, putting his units back in a better position. But it did allow WeirdRat to get a lot of worker damage. And the reason these wolves were actually able to get in was because of these airships. So even though Highdra does have a lot of areas walled off, it's actually still not good enough, especially when your opponent is going for these airships. You definitely want something a little bit more dynamic, where you go for airship and ballista, and you start chasing the airships. You start hunting down the airships, because as long as your opponent doesn't have airships, then they can't go for plays like this. This will be easily defended with the soldiers and all this here. That'll be fine. But this is the real issue at the moment, is the fact that WeirdRat is going for these drop plays, and at the same time he does have units on the map. He's going to be able to do a transition into MECH. And do we see any upgrades? I don't believe we see any upgrades at the moment, but he is going to be able to transition into MECH, and at the same time he is going to be able to start getting another base in these locations. Highdra going for a very similar play. You know, at the same time he's receiving harassment from these airships, he's deciding, maybe I want to be the one to do some harassment with airships now. And as a result, we do see him dropping in the main with these archers. We do see a tower for WeirdRat, which is going to be able to defend this very convincingly. We definitely need to see a little bit more tension there. WeirdRat knocking on the front door. Catapults are calling for Highdra to basically leave the game. And this is where things get a little bit interesting. The game plan for most Beast players is to have a very strong army. You're basically trying to rush to 150 supply of Beast, keeping the Rax player at home, being able to respond against any pushes that your opponent is going for. And let's say this, you know, if Highdra decided to go for a Rax all-in, you definitely want to be able to transition into this MECH play so that you can be very defensive. And then MECH is just very good against Rax, specifically very good against this Archer Ball playstyle. Against soldiers, it's a little bit more nuanced because you can cause catapults to have a lot of like derping, just because when they're on attack move, their whole thing is to just attack the closest thing next to them. They'll prioritize combat units, obviously, but if that combat unit is a soldier and it just keeps moving forward, those catapults are going to have a really hard time dealing damage. I'm going to take a look at Hydra's vision really quick to see if he was able to scout this base. It looks like it was not. Does have this archer here just consistently doing damage. Wolves will clean it up. And then we see that at the same time, Highdra is going for a kind of a Rax attack here. He's like trying to basically catch this army when it's out of position. The problem is that the soldiers are very good at doing this, except the archers are not very good at doing this. To be true, or at least to be said, Highdra does have some of the best archer micro in the game. This is one of the places where he exceeds the best at controlling units, being able to do pullback while trying to get a lot of pressure in. And this is the one area where the catapults do not do very well. Wolves trying to come in, trying to support this, basically the catapults trying to get in as much damage onto these archers as they possibly can, so that there's going to be less pressure on these catapults. But catapults do a lot of friendly damage, friendly fire. Problem now is that Highdra does not have a big enough Rax army. In fact, he's overbuilding archers. At this point, you want less and less archers, especially against catapults. You want to have a more mobile army that can be as disruptive as possible. Archers are very like honorable. They want to fight in a line. They want to do skirmishing. They want to take slow fights. So soldiers are not the same. They just want to just run in, get a just touch the units. They're extremely tanky. They do a lot of damage, and then as we do see, it looks like WeirdRat was the victor in this game. So it's very exciting to see this game. Very good scouting by WeirdRat to scout the fact that this catadrop was on its way, and then we see the rest of the game play out after Highdra was not able to stabilize there on map number 1. So this was game number 1 of their best of 3 match between Highdra and WeirdRat. This was game number 1. Let me know if you want to see game number 2 and 3. I did look at some of the replay sizes, and it looks like game 2 is insanely long. Like, they go into the late game. They have an amazing game. So if you want to see game number 2, just let me know. I'm not going to spoil if there is a game number 3 or not, but I'll probably cast it anyways. But, you know, if you leave something in the comments, that'd be great. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.